Welcome to another episode of the Dan Lok Show. Today, I am very excited, and it's my honor to introduce a very, very, very special gentleman. Now, I bring on a lot of guests on my show, but this is someone that I know personally, someone that I looked up to. Now, when I met him, I told him that I was actually studying his materials many years ago, and I reminded him it was in like, I think it was like CDs that I bought, right? Mr. Joe Bauer. Now, if you don't know Joe is the mentor's mentor. He's trained more than 1900, about 2000, some of the most profitable, successful speakers, trainers, authors in the world. People like Evan Pagan, Joe Polish, right? There's so many top people that he has trained over the years. And once I got to, and I've studied kind of Joe from afar. I've studied some of his work, but when I got to know him, it takes the relationship to a whole new level. In fact, I'm going to study with him in a few months in November, learning how to be a better speaker, how to be a better communicator, and that says a lot, right? So I'm super excited, Joe. Welcome to the show.
I'm kind of blown away by that because the majority of big players, and I consider you top of the class. I haven't seen you do anything that I don't love. Even your martial arts training is, I spent a large percentage of my life in martial arts, and I really tell people that my father, because I didn't have one, he left when I was about a year old, was Hideyoshi, my sensei. And it wasn't about the fighting. It was about the mindset. It was about having a mission. It was about discipline and repetition and frequency. And I literally open my highest level events talking about my sensei. And I know that you are revered by people who trust you, many of whom are much older, but wisdom isn't linked to a timeline.
Yes.
It's really based upon how you think and the moves you make. So I'm kind of blown away by the way you introduced me, because we have no preparation here. I have no notes. They gave me no guidance whatsoever. And that's a risk I'm willing to take with you. Whereas normally, they ask me for the questions, the answers in advance. Everything is orchestrated. So I want people to know that Dan will ask me anything he wants. I do teach the art of closing and the art or heart of communication. And Peng Joon, someone that Dan recently celebrated with, you did an interview with him, and this young man was about to quit. He wasn't going to pursue the platform. He had trained with some of the biggest names, Dan, and he flew in from Los Angeles. Cost him about $21,000 to train with me with expenses. And he walked up to me at break, and he said, "This is too simple. I'm really worried." And I said, "Well, let me wire you back your money. I'll pay for your travel back to Malaysia. I'll take care of your hotel. I'll reimburse all your expenses. It would be my pleasure, because I don't want to be in a marriage that you don't want to be in. And what you're telling me is you don't trust me." And he said, no, that's not what I mean. This is just too simple. I was learning metaphor and allegory and manipulative tonal patterns, and I was learning to use control languaging and all kinds of manipulative stuff. And I used it, and I was trained by some of the biggest names in the industry who had come to Asia. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of my father's money on this specialized by design education. And I failed 100% in closing from the platform. And so you're my last resort. I said, "Well, you decide. Go or remain. But if you remain, I need open heart and open mind." And I know that you love Bruce Lee.
Yes.
And have respect for what he tried to do with Jeet Kune Do.
Yes.
I don't believe he truly ever finished.
Yes.
I believe that my most definite aim, the letter he wrote, was incomplete, because unfortunately an act of God took him from us. The truth is, he overexercised. He didn't listen to his doctor, and he just pushed himself so hard. And that cost him. Aneurysm, it's arguable. But I truly believe that he would still be here, and he would have done even more. But how one man made such a difference in the world, not just in Asia.
Yes, in the world.
But in the world. And you know, I say to people, he was born in 1940 and he died in 1973, 33 years. And he literally made a dent. And he actually did achieve, he transcended all of his goals and aspirations. So I know that people who are training with you, training with the right people, they find the right mentor, someone who's unstoppable. And I just want to compliment you because I think as an online digital marketer, as a speaker, as a copywriter, as someone who cares about your audience, and I want them to know that the FU book does not represent your personality. And I was pleasantly surprised to confirm my intuition told me that was a character. Like my character, your business card is crap. The real Dan, the Dan I met at Disneyland, the Dan I met with
I spent a day in Disneyland, just so you know.
With Jenny and with your team and the people you surround yourself by, who you have such respect for. You play with them every week. People don't know this. You take care of them. You house them, and as a result, it's one mind. They all wanted, and you celebrate them. And I actually know behind the scenes, you overpay people because you truly want them to care about what they're doing, and you don't want them to have to worry about survival. You want them to thrive.
Correct.
So I'm very impressed. And the way that Dan introduced me is something so rare, ladies and gentlemen, and you need to really understand what he just did. People are scared to identify that they train, that they can still be inspired, that there's a source of information other than just themselves. People want to conceal source. So if I learned something from Dan, and I've already learned many things from Dan, and that was just looking at his free YouTube channel and martial arts videos, and I'm constantly surprised by how much he gives away, but it's also part of his strategy. But it's not a strategy, I believe, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong because I don't know, I believe you're doing it because you do want to create value, even though it does have a secondary and prevailing evergreen impact in the creating, giving. Eventually, they're willing to make a small deposit because there's a guarantee. So if they tried something on for size of yours, like myself, you guarantee a result.
Yes.
And you give them enough time to truly try it on for size. And I think that your stack, your offers, and the layouts and your funnels are brilliant because I myself am sitting there going, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. I said, just for that, I'm looking at just one little element, a smidgen on a sliver on a smidgen of a sliver. Just this one thing will put $250,000 in additional revenue per quarter in my wife and myself and my company's pocketbook. So, for those of you that are like, is Dan for real? Dan's for real, guys. I've looked at the materials. I've hired. No, actually, I didn't hire them. You don't have to hire them. We brought as closers to 2 events now.
Yes.
We know that we had additional sales because as effective as I may be in front of the room, it is not always elegant or effective, nor is it for Dan to trail the people who want to buy, want to invest, want to embrace risk-free to the back of the room, to the paper table, or wherever the collection or acquisition or lock-in is going down. And so his people are there. I trained them because they were open to listening. And so we had some sessions, and I was with one of your directors who's brilliant. That's Desmond, who loves you, cares about you, and cares about your people. He just thanked me because this is how things work, ladies and gentlemen. I just referred a major producer with a major event. And I said, essentially, I'm not going to do your event if I can't bring in Dan Lok's people, because if I can't bring in his people, I won't be able to maximize the amount of people I'm going to help. There's something that everyone needs to hear out there. And by the way, shut me down whenever you want, but they really need to hear this.
And I want to
don't learn. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I want to say that, because we are all, I think all leaders, all great leaders, are all great students. That, like you said, we're always learning. I'm always learning. And over the years, of course, I learned from so many people. Especially in terms of marketing, business, communication, speaking. There's so many people but whenever, when I met you, then I knew, because I just recognize a great teacher when I see one. It's like in martial art that you have many different schools, but when you see like a true master, you're like, wow, that is so amazing. Like I'm so amazed. I want
to say this about you. And I want to say this about me. You need to, all of you, understand something. That if you speak and you're speaking for free and you're giving it away, And that is just plain wrong because no one values it. Think about all your friends who ask your opinion and then don't follow through. And then they'll buy something for $10 download or free download, and they'll follow that mentor who they don't know, who's not their friend necessarily. Yeah. And then they find out it was a piece of garbage.
Yes.
Absolute crap. That person who's now out of business 3 months later because they don't have the stability of a Dan Lok or Joel Bauer. So you have a responsibility to learn to sell and close, because if you don't motivate the audience ethically and morally to invest in your products, your services, and your support, they will buy something else from someone who doesn't give a damn whether they live or die. And this is what's happening. And so when you know, the most important thing for a student of my process, or I think your process, to learn is if we don't do this correctly, they'll invest in something that perhaps doesn't work. Then they'll have a terrible experience.
Or hurts them.
Then they'll close up inside themselves, Dan, and then they fail.
Yes.
And you know, I have a saying, they can't all be lying. If they're crying, they can't all be lying. So when you look at Dan's testimonials, or you look at my testimonials, which are all that count, the result of what it is we do. Dan, I'm pretty sure you could walk away right now. I know that I can, and just live off the real estate investments, because I've taken all the money in teaching others all these years, transferring my systems and doing what it is, closing and presenting, and empowering the students.
Yes.
And you leverage it.
Yes.
And you talk about this. You leverage it in real estate. It's not complicated. I wasn't brilliant. You buy property and you put people in it and they rent it. And when you have more rent coming in, a lot of it that literally transcends my cost of living and my lifestyle, well, then I'm retired. And then there's a point where wealth kicks in when you realize that, okay, now I have so much. What would I do for free for the rest of my life?
Yes.
And I would do exactly what I'm doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think you know this, but I think Dan would be doing exactly what he's doing now for free. But if he did that and you didn't have to vest yourself, and this is the second principle, not only do we have an obligation to learn to motivate people to invest in the right products and services and support, but we also must. It is our obligation to deliver something that actually works. So as my mentor, Mary Kay, taught me 3 things. Is it easy? So when we're teaching, it has to be easy. And when I say teaching, it needs to be experiential. That's what sets Dan Lok apart.
Not lecture.
Has to be experiential. That's why Dan doesn't just talk at people. He asks the right questions, then he puts them together, then they rehearse, then they overcome all the objections so people make a logical and informed decision. We share a lot in common, Dan. And I think even when you train with me, there's a lot of things you're going to go, wow, I already do that.
I love it.
And I'm going to do more of that, because that's what I see in you.
Yes.
Like you refresh something and you reignite something in me. Not that I don't learn new things, because I do.
Yes.
Now, do I listen to everyone? No. Teachability index, I think I'm at a 10. I maintain that, but I will only listen to people who have already done what it is I want to do. And this is a foundational principle, and I think you embrace it. So I don't care if you're younger than me. I respect your skills and your choices. And you were very revealing at Disneyland throughout the day, because we were, very close for 10 hours, dinner. You introduced me with one of your contacts. You are the people you surround yourself by. And I asked this man, I said to Matt, I said, what do you do? And I just shut up. This guy, it was masterful. I so wish I had permission to record it. It was if Dan ever gives you an opportunity to hear an interview with Matt, and if Matt agrees to it, because he certainly doesn't need to, certainly doesn't need the money. Matt is brilliant, and he can do some things that are scary. So here we are at Disneyland in the Star Wars area. And by the way, I'm looking up here, Dan, and the thing that I bought is perched.
What?
Oh no! Can I grab it? It's right here.
Yeah,
I think I can do this without detaching my ear set here. So I'm going to actually.
That's right. It's awesome.
I'm at home right.
It's awesome.
I actually made a perch for it.
Yes.
So I'm with Dan, and I see this woman. And by the way, if you guys think you're not learning anything here already, and you think we haven't begun, you're wrong.
Yes.
And Dan could have probably identified 8 or 10 patterns that I've already used, both languaging, layering, tonality, modulation, many, many things that we're doing here. It might seem conversational, or you might say to yourself, well, Joel's not being interviewed. He just kind of asked him a question and then Joel took off. Well, he'll cut in if he wants to. He wants you to get to know the person he's interviewing.
Yes.
That's what Dan is masterful at. It's the art of questions. So I saw this woman, and I saw this thing she's holding, and we're in the marketplace for Star Wars, which they spend millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars per square foot.
Yeah.
I really think they might have spent more than we want to know building something masterful.
Yeah.
And I did some research on this. They have made more money selling these already, just this one toy, the Porg, than most people will make in a lifetime.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, than probably 30, 40 people will make in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I saw the woman, and she was just doing this. That was it. Then I saw this, and I couldn't hear it. I didn't hear it, but I said, oh my God. Excuse me, I don't mean to offend anyone, but I was like, it was like a religious thing because, and I mean religious, like, oh, I love that.
I got to buy it, yeah.
Because it's so adorable. And it just, and I'm not a big Star Wars overwhelmed. I didn't care what it cost.
Yes.
I ran over, I took out my black card, I handed it to them. And when I say black card, meaning I'm not worried about what it cost. And you're not worried about what it cost. I had to have it. And I was buying on emotion.
Yes.
Not logic.
Not logic.
No, I had to have this thing. And I've had more fun with this thing. And it sits up there on the perch. And I've actually used this on multiple webinars now. And I'll tell you something. My daughter thought, why is my dad playing with this stuffed animal? And now every day I wake her up in the morning because one of our kids is still here. And she's about 26 and working with us in a show right now. And so this is how I annoy her. And I use it in the house to wake people up who won't get up in the morning. My wife is ready for this thing. So now, the point of the matter is, the woman didn't say a word to me and close me.
Yes.
She didn't have to do a thing. I just said, where do I get it? She just pointed. Not a word was exchanged. But she did do one thing. She took it off her hand. She said, put your hand in. That's all she said, put your hand in. And I found these two levers. Wings, mouth. So I learned something. If I want to close someone, I don't have to close them. I just need to have them experience, like Mary Kay, that it's easy, that it works, and that they can do it. So those are the three principles I learned from my mentor. Is it easy? Does it actually work? Because a lot of things don't work.
Yes.
And then it's unethical, and then you got FTC concerns, and then you're in trouble. So you got to make sure that you make it super simple, that it's transferable and sustainable. Is it transferable and sustainable? See, that's the third question she taught me. She said, Joel, you'll be retired by the time you're 30. It took me until 33. I didn't make it, but I did okay. She said, you'll be able to retire by the time you're 33 if you get 3 yeses to these questions. Is it easy? Does it work? And here's the big one, Dan. Can I do it? So if the audience doesn't know it's easy, they don't know that it works experientially, and they don't know that they can do it. If you get a no to any one of those 3, you're done.
Yes.
And they have a reason not to buy. And they're looking for a reason not to buy.
Yes. Joel, so I'm curious, for someone, because as you know, I teach closing and you are the master at closing from the platform. Why is closing from the platform? Let's say I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an executive, I'm a business owner. I'm listening, I'm watching and say, yeah, I run my company. Like, why do I need to learn how to close on the platform? Why is it so powerful?
Oh, you're IPOing a company. You have an idea. You're an entrepreneur. You're a solopreneur. You're a small business owner. You'd like to expand your reach. You'd like to scale your business. Ultimately, closing from the platform is closing from planet Earth. So whether you believe the Earth is flat or round, and there are some interesting people who actually can show some interesting questions about the Earth truly being, and I'm not going there, but I'll just tell you something. I believe the Earth is round. Okay. And that's based upon how I was educated.
Mm.
That's it. I was programmed a certain way.
Yes.
Well, if someone thinks that speaking is and elicits fear, so they have a sense of fear in public speaking. Speaking from the platform, my students have no fear. They're fearless because my students aren't speaking from the platform. The platform is planet Earth. So Dan, you're standing right now. I'm sitting. If I want to stand, I'll just take this desk, the standing desk, and go like this. And now we're standing. And a matter of fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to do that. So I'm lifting this up now so that, which they say energetically, can have some real positive, and I'm hooked into my chair right now. So I'm now standing. So chair is now gone. Just going to push it out of the way here. I'm standing on a platform. Anyone listening to this interview, understand one thing. You're closing from the platform every day. Every day of your life. You either do it well or you're forgotten.
Yes. I love that. You do it
You
well,
either do this well or you are forgotten.
Yes.
And you either do this on a legacy level. Listen, legacy level. You're guys, you're living and designing your legacy with every move you make, every training that you manifest. Anytime you've helped someone, if you didn't record it, that's sad. Because then it becomes a transferable commodity. And that's what Dan is trying to teach you. Dan doesn't talk to someone privately and not record it. Dan will create a training. It has value. They get to know Dan. They live vicariously through this revelation, which might have been very simple and very elegant, but it's empowering and inspiring to the right person. And we're not trying to win everyone over. There are people that will love Dan or love Joel, and there are people that will vehemently dislike us because we're too tall or we're too small or we have too much hair or not enough hair. Guys, you're not going to please them all. But there's an audience for you. And this is the platform that we speak on. So every business owner, every individual has to be able to close from the platform, which means they need to be able to articulate what it is they represent, understand the offering, position it in a way where it's so compelling, interactive, and engaging that there's a call to action. And that person now opts in their life, whether it's giving you the email address, going to your website, going for a series of webinar instruction that's automated or integrated, a free download for whatever it is, your event, your boot camp, or your one-on-one consultation. All of you are closing. And the problem with most of you is you're closing one-on-one. This is very effective if you have a team.
Yes.
So Dan's providing you, if you don't know it, it's not a sales pitch for Dan. It's just what he's doing is very logical. And I'm training people as well. And those become the players out there. So we can magnify and we can really scale our presence and our profitability. Becoming a millionaire is not challenging in today's world. And if you don't get that, then you're not following Dan's principles or my principles. So when you ask me, you ask me a question right now, it might seem like I'm digressing, but I'm really not digressing. You either learn these skills and understand that it's not the platform at a Success Resources event. It's not the stage. It's the ground you're standing on. It doesn't matter if you're elevated or not. If you want to IPO a company, look, I was with Steve Jobs for 15 years in marketing, under fire at the trade shows, representing Apple, Toshiba, Panasonic, IBM, Lear Siegler, Cargill, Sesferco, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 corporations, and I was their voice. And Steve Jobs said to me, he said, if you can't present and close, you're not worth a damn. That was his opinion on CTOs, CFOs, CMOs, CEOs, EIO. He said, everyone on the farm needs to be able to close. Now, excuse me if I went presentational on you, but that's not presentational. That question is vital. You either learn to do this or you fail. You learn to do this or you're forgotten. You learn to do this or you're irrelevant and you're having no impact. You're going along to get along. I really feel that strongly. So Dan, it's not the platform. We're all training platform speakers, and it's platform Earth. So when someone walks up to you and they say, what do you do? And you can't compel them. Literally, you can't compel them. So Dan, let me ask you, if someone walked up to you now, and I know they don't need the money, okay, but I know that you're a caring human being. I know that you're not you're not bigger. There's no big head on you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't detect any out of control ego. You've got enough ego to get out of bed in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and motivate your team
Mm-hmm.
and care about what you're doing. And I know you adore your wife and your staff and and it's your family. You live with these people.
Yep.
What other individual with a company takes his people out on a Friday and plays with them? Disneyland, Universal,
Yes.
out to dinner.
Yes.
Guys, he's very unusual. And I love that because that was really, another one of my mentors was Deming.
Mm.
And Deming really believed in team consciousness and team spirit and unifying people with the right intention. Intention is so important. Look, I know you've got questions, and if I didn't answer that, ask me to go deeper on it because
I love it. So for someone, let's say even Peng Joon, they say they want to learn the close. Of course, this is a 4-day question, right? But for someone, let's say they want to learn this skill, how is it? First of all, is it learnable?
Yeah, here's the beauty of it. Years ago, I was asked by Robert Allen, Mark Victor Hansen, and Mitch Carson. They were paying me huge fees in consulting.
Yeah.
And they had done some research on me, and they knew that I didn't need the money because I was already well leveraged and invested. So they said to me something really weird. They said, "We're tired of paying all this money, like 25 grand for a couple hours and 15 grand to do a phone call," and the results were spectacular. Yeah, it's funny when someone charges that kind of money, like what makes someone worth $12,000 an hour, or $30,000 for a consult that's locked down at specific timing. Well, you look at the results, and if the results are that someone who had nothing was literally confused and lost and hadn't gotten it built, and they spoke to this person for 10 minutes, and suddenly they knew exactly what to do, and they had 1.7 million in a bank account 6 months later. My question to you is, was that a good investment?
Yeah.
My answer would be, it wouldn't matter if you paid them 200 grand. If suddenly you were doing the thing that you were never able to do before because you didn't have the knowledge or the direction or the motivation and inspiration and the moves and the mechanics, then of course, so that's why people invest in myself and you. But the question is, do they have access now? Because now we've got like a 2-year wait. So when people want to have these clients that are hanging and waiting, how do you do that? Well, you do it online like Dan does, a digital marketer. We do it through live events because no matter how much we click from place to place, it will never replace face-to-face. And so if you train them properly online with all those skills and you build their expectations, which is so important, I'd love to discuss pre-frame here at some point. Peng Joon flew in. And by the way, guys, I don't even think you know, but when I'm talking to you, I can't help myself. There were another 6 layers there.
Yeah.
There's nothing random coming out of me. Dan asked me a question. This is not something that I do. It's something I live in.
Yes.
The way you set expectation, the way that was a close. There were actually 3 closes in there.
Yes.
And I overcame multiple objections.
Yes.
Why is someone paid so much?
Yes.
And then what do we do? The implied case study. You look at the clients and you look at their results and you live vicariously, and then the money becomes irrelevant, which overcomes the number one objection, which is it's too expensive. Really?
Yes.
It costs you a fortune. You'd have $20-30 million in a bank account now, ostensibly, had you met me 20 years ago. So what does it cost you by not doing it already? It's cost you 3 or 4 lifetimes of what you could have invested and leveraged and protected and secured your children's futures. Put yourself in a position where money was no concern. Don't you want to be in that position where money's not a concern?
Yep.
You do what you love every day. So Dan and I take languaging very seriously.
Yeah.
And we take questions very seriously. So Dan, you got to guide me here because we didn't, otherwise I'm just going to.
You're talking about Peng Joon flying in?
Yeah, Peng Joon. So Peng Joon came in and he said, no, I want to stay here. No, it's too simple. He said, what you're asking me to do is talk about my family, talk about my history so it's not a mystery, and let the audience care about me and emotionalize it, which is the opposite of what I was being taught by these so-called languaging gurus and people that wanted me to change my persona and people that wanted me to have to do the same stupid knockdown close like everyone else is doing on the platforms. You just want me to tell my story and use this 20-move matrix, which is something that I was literally training Russell Brunson about 6 months ago, and we were fine-tuning on a move called Permission to Reveal. And he said to me, Russell said 30% of the internet marketers who are doing webinars in the world today are using your stuff, Joel, and they didn't all pay you. I said, I know that. I'm not worried about it. I said, that's very nice of you to say, but if I spent all my time suing people, I'd have no life. I'd be stressed out. I'd probably be dead. There's only so much you can do to protect your intellectual property. So the same thing with Peng Joon. I mean, suddenly this guy goes from, selling as a digital marketer, doing really well. And now his dream of being on the platform, he leaves my event and he has his first crowd rush. Literally people that could have broken their legs, rushing the tables at $3,000-4,000 US in Malaysia. And that's a lot of money in Malaysia. That's a lot of money in Singapore.
100%.
That's a lot of money. And they're rushing. And Xu Ying, the woman who runs this company, who's brilliant, he surrounds himself with brilliant people. She couldn't believe it. It's like he went from no response, no close, not one sale, to overwhelming sales. So when you're learning from Dan, you're learning from a mentor who's done what it is you want to do. And if you don't want that result, well, why are you here? Like when I speak to you right now, and I'm talking to the camera here because Dan's here. And if I look at Dan right now, I'm going to be looking down. My camera's here. And that's awkward. You know what's really awkward? Not having these skill sets. You know what's awkward? Not being able to feed your family. You know what's awkward? Not being able to provide your children with clothing that feels good on their body, transportation, the ability to travel, the right health coverage in a world today where literally one hotel stay could destroy an entire fortune.
Very true.
We have to empower people with the skills to present themselves in a way that's unforgettable at the first point of contact so they can persuade those who are shut down, who normally wouldn't give them the time of day. And then we need to learn to teach them to preserve those relationships long term. And this is exactly what Dan is about. I was blown away by your introduction because you didn't conceal anything. I was going to say to you, Dan, when you come to my event, do you want me to put you like Kevin Trudeau? Kevin made about $3 billion in sales closing. And I said, Kevin, you're training with me and you're bringing 3 or 4 of your people, all of which you paid for. And I said, do you want to put you under an umbrella or I'll build a room for you, like a private sound booth. And that way people won't know you're there. He said, Joel, you put me anywhere you want to put me. He says, I know you'll frame it in a way where they will treat me respectfully. And that's exactly what I did. So when you come to train with me,
and I can't wait.
Desmond,
I'm so excited.
Ginny, in November, I just want you to know that I will tell my people, you do not walk on eggshells around these people. At the same time, you also don't pick their brain. That Dan is coming with open mind, and he's also here able to learn. Are you able to learn? As Bruce Lee say, empty your frigging cup.
Yes.
With Joe Hyams, when Joe asked Bruce Lee, I want to train with you, Bruce, and Bruce poured the tea into a cup, let it overflow, and now it's like almost burning his hand. It wasn't quite that hot. And Joe said, there's no more room, Bruce. He said, precisely, that's exactly why I'm sitting here deciding whether I will train you, Joe. You have 5 different martial arts styles. Can you let go of your preconceived notion and all of the discipline and repetition of all the movements and all the mindsets that you have from all these other trainers? Because, I'm not teaching you Kempo. I'm not teaching you Taekwondo. I'm teaching you Jeet Kune Do.
Yes.
And my process requires an open mind. So you're not interviewing me.
Yes.
I'm interviewing you. Bruce was a master closer.
Yes.
I will decide if I'm going to train you. He never mentioned price.
Yes. Which he charged a lot back then. A lot.
Joe would have paid anything. Bruce understood his value. He knew the power of presence. And I'll tell you something interesting. This is not a setup. This is one of my favorite things, and I keep it not far from, I'm at home right now, not on the road. And that's the beauty of what we do, Dan, because we don't have to go anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
I'm in a soundproof studio, and it's 10 feet from my bed. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yes.
When you said, Joel, would you do an interview? I said, for you, I would do anything. Because I believe in you and you'll be here when I'm gone, and you'll carry this forward. Because for me, it's not about the amount of people I train. It's about training them so well they actually succeed and having them care about what they do. So there's a sense of contribution and significance and transference of their life's work, whether it's a hobby or a business or a workflow. You are teaching the skills that I believe are most important on the planet, and you are doing it experientially. So to me, you are someone I have nothing but respect for. I can't train everyone, and I've also learned, Dan, that when you put 6,000 people in a room, there's no intimacy.
Yeah.
So I like to keep it down to 100. I'm not talking about the big rooms where we're sorting, sifting, and separating and finding out who's serious about their life. This deck of cards, do you have this?
I don't.
This is the Bruce Lee deck.
Oh, cool.
Manufactured by U.S. Playing Card. And inside this deck are 52 cards, including jokers, that each one of them has an inspiration on it. Each one of them has one of Bruce's favorite sayings.
Wow.
Based upon his 22 years of research, which started his philosophy journey as a child, because he was a reader. He studied. And so if I were to randomly, here, why don't you just say stop?
Stop.
Take a look at that card.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let go. And so we have absolutely no idea. I know your card was the Three of Hearts, by the way, because unfortunately I'm on camera. And so being on camera, it's not hard to figure out that that Three of Hearts contains one thing on it. And I actually need my glasses to see this because I am 58 years old and I can use an assist.
Like Joe is doing magic as he's explaining this, okay?
Truth is outside of all patterns. So you and I could interpret that because that's pretty deep. He may be talking about a pattern interruption, and I don't think he was aware of the pseudoscience of neurolinguistics, which is so basic, so fundamental. But it's interesting. So each one of these cards, I've probably spent 3, 4, 5 hours with. This deck of cards represent, I'd imagine, by the way, I don't know if you know this, Dan, but they only manufactured 1,000 decks.
Now, it's like you saw your son in Star Wars. Now I wanted to buy one.
Yeah, Dan, this is the only deck I could find, and I've searched.
Damn.
I don't even know. So now, guys, we're playing with you right now because I literally could have built an entire construct around the deck here. We could have generated a link. We could have limited the amount of production on the decks that are currently available. Did a buyout. There's only 1,000 decks or 700 decks left in the world. And then it comes with a workbook, a manual, a download, a 4-hour training, and a personal. And so suddenly this deck of cards tied to Bruce Lee and the spirit of Bruce Lee and the history of Bruce Lee becomes a product and a process and an outcome. And both Dan Lok and or myself could turn this into $250,000 or $1 million. And we could contact Linda and the foundation. And Linda loves to make money because why not? She can't spend what she has right now. Bruce Lee made a lot more money after his life than he did when he was alive.
Yes.
And so, guys, if we can take this and turn this into a product, a process, a philosophical training, what could you take? What's in your heart? What could you turn that into? Everyone's got oh, by the way, I don't need glasses. This is all nonsense. It's closing technique. If I take off my glasses when I go into my clothes because I can't read something, or I drop something on the floor by mistake, like my clicker, and I let someone else pick it up and help me by giving it back to me, it increases my sales 2 to 3%, which could be another $250,000 on a big close. So, guys, this demonstrates imperfection. The fact that I needed the glasses makes me imperfect. The fact that I dropped something and allowed someone else to help me. So a lot of you might be saying right now, well, that's very manipulative. So you want to go through your life not knowing what to do to generate the highest result when your integrity and your moral foundation is complete. You truly care about people and you have something to offer. But you don't want to learn what Dan, Joel, you don't want to select a mentor that can refine your process where effortlessly, automatically, and unconsciously with total competence, you're able to direct and guide people to do the right thing. And since you have a money-back guarantee, There is no risk, only reward, since you're strapping all the risk on your back, not on theirs. And they get to actually learn from your life's work. And if they're not happy for any reason, their money is right back in their bank account, generating virtually no interest. In fact, money in the bank is losing money. People don't seem to understand that.
Very true.
Dan, I don't think you want to be any more liquid than I am. We want assets.
Very true.
And we want things that scale. So, guys, I mean, this is not a normal interview. I mean, I don't know what you wanted me to do, but this is a transformation mechanism. This is a transformation mechanism, the use of props. I actually didn't do any magic. I didn't intentionally.
Yes.
If you show the audience that you can do something they can't do, for example, if I had taken the deck of cards here and I had shuffled them perfectly without a single error, there are no errors. That's 52. The same way you are with Wing Chun, when I see you against the dummy, moving at a speed that Donnie Chin can't. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're one of the best I've ever experienced. Fast, precise.
Donnie's phenomenal. Donnie's
phenomenal. You told me you had a great experience with him, and he was very loving and very gentle, and yet a powerhouse. You were watching him kick, and any one of those kicks could have killed 3 people. If you take a look here, this is the result of 45 years. See, this is not a normal shuffle. This is a pharaoh. So when those cards shuffle together with one hand, I'm demonstrating skill the audience wouldn't have. Guys, write this down. All of you out there, do not show the audience what they can't do. That's why I leave the tricks in the drawer.
That's right. What you said. Is it easy? Does it work? Can they do it?
Never show them how clever you are. Always let them know who mentored you, because they want to know that it came from somewhere. They don't want to think that you're so bright, you're so gifted, you fell out of your mother's womb with all this genius, because that's too hard. They need to know that you're a regular person who acquired these skills. That's why Tony Robbins talks about washing dishes and learning from Jim Rohn. That's why you talk about your past, which is you were hardly born with a silver spoon. I was raised by my mother, born with spinal meningitis. Yeah. And they told my mom I'd be dead within 1 week. Somehow I survived. My mother's sister told her I was retarded because I didn't talk till I was 6.5 years old, or walk, or crawl, or scream, or do anything. And quite frankly, my mother picked me up off the ground, put me in the car, left all the furniture, and drove me upstate New York, where later on I met Hideyoshi. My mom removed me from family. She didn't want me to ever hear them say he's retarded. Well, I hate to say this, Dan, but I appeared to be retarded. Wow. If a kid doesn't talk, walk, or crawl till they're 6.5, my mother didn't want me to hear it. So the greatest gift my mother ever gave me was she never told me it couldn't be done. She never wanted me to hear someone tell me I couldn't do it. And that's a gift. So I don't have any of that talk in my head. I don't have any of that negativity. And my father, he came into my life at 43 years old. Okay. Called me, told me he loved me. He said, I'm your father, and I just want to let you know I love you. And I go, you left when I was a year old. You call me at 43. How'd you get my cell phone number? And how do I know you're my father? He said, I gave your assistant your social security number. And so she let me go through and transferred me. I said, no, not cool. I need more proof. I mean, who is this guy calling me? I don't know him. Your father's the person that raised you. He met me in Philadelphia the next day. He said, I said, I'm coming to Philly. It's where I was born, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm doing a seminar tomorrow. He says, I know, I follow your schedule. I said, you know? Why don't you ever send me an email? I didn't think you'd get it. I didn't think you'd respond. You know, it's amazing, really amazing, Dan, is that people assume they're not going to be able to do something, not going to be able to connect with their child, not going to be able to close the audience. You're wrong. What Dan and I do works. We don't need you to like us. True. We want you to be more effective with your life. We're not asking you. We're not your friend. We're not your buddy. We're not your sister. We're not your brother. You hear the voice of your father, the voice of your grandfather, the voice of your mother. You'll hear that voice in Dan sometimes. He's got many voices. Mm-hmm. You all need to understand something out there. We're not trying to be your friend. We're trying to transfer the skill sets that we spent a lifetime evolving so that you can do something transformational in your life in a very short period of time. Most of you didn't hear about Dan 2 years ago. He was out there and he was killing it. Very successful, quietly. And what did he do? He designed the way he wanted to be perceived, received, conceived. And in less than 2 years, he's one of the top players on the planet. And unstoppable.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you watch him. He'll be a household name in the next 2 years. If he chooses to, by the time he's 55 years old, it won't matter. If he wanted to be a billionaire, he's already on course. It's not important. That's not what's driving him. I believe what's driving him is the desire to help you help yourself and leverage your family. Sorry, Dan. I mean, this is weird. This is not a normal interview. I should be.
No, I love it. I love it. I do want to ask you about you because you said make sure I ask you about this pre-framing.
Yeah. By the way, Peng Joon left the event. Now he makes. I think he'll make 12 to 17 million this year.
Yes.
He's made over 10 million for the last 3-4 years in a row.
Yes.
I met him in 2012, and he said, Joel, that was, I have a letter from him, and he quoted Winston Churchill. And I mean, we've traveled together. We went skiing in Japan recently, and, you know, I love him.
He loves you?
I love him. I've heard him tell me from time to time he loves me, and I'm just so proud of him. Mm-hmm. And my wife said, your students aren't supposed to make more per year than you do. And I go, why not?
Isn't that the sign of a good teacher?
I said, yeah, Dan, I said, Cheryl, what do I care? I said, Cheryl, do I want anything? Do I want a car, another house, another custom suit, another watch? Do I want anything that I don't have?
Yeah.
She said, no. I said, Cheryl, I'm not in competition with anyone other than myself.
Yeah.
I said, I feel that I'm making a difference for the people I serve. Mm-hmm. That's enough for me. Mm-hmm. I'm 58 years old. My life expectancy is 78, according to the insurance companies. Maybe I cheated by 10 years. Who knows? Maybe not. I've lost friends in their 40s. Mm-hmm. All my mentors have died. Well, I would call you a mentor now. I can learn from you if you can learn from me. We are mentors mentoring mentors.
Yes. Yes.
And you've earned it, and your results dictate that you should be called a mentor. A mentor is a teacher, a Sifu, someone who's not mastered everything, but has their life in balance and has mastered something that they can transfer elegantly. And that's what I do. I mean, that's what I'm teaching people to do is that, you know, the closing, and that's all part of it. But it's really, Peng Joon said, I allowed everyone there to find their voice and their strength and their competence. And they left there completely rewired. And so I truly believe that not only will you come away with new closing angles and a different perspective, maybe, I think, I just think it will invite you to give even more. I know you're giving everything you have, but I think that's what will happen there.
Yes.
That you'll give even more. Guys, you have no idea. And for those of you that are watching this, and maybe you've never invested in Dan's products or processes, which are remarkable with the money back guarantees, so there is no risk. Go to his YouTube channel, watch these trainings. Go to his, you say you're not in the martial arts? Each one of his trainings is a metaphor. When he trained you on distance, it wasn't about someone attacking you with a knife or a gun. It was about proximity. It was about awareness. It was about the periphery, seeing the big picture. It was about you being a visionary, a producer, and a director. Dan is trying to help you whether you have money or you don't have money. That's not a prerequisite in learning from us. You have to give. And that's why I love Dan. I don't do a lot of these interviews. Not at all. I mean, I haven't been on I think I did 2 podcasts last year, 2 interviews. And one of them was me sitting with Peng Joon. Peng Joon in Malaysia, Dan, he said to me, we went to dinner and, I gave him a hug and we're having some ice cream with Xu Ying and at the Green. It's in Malaysia. I can't. It's where I operate a lot of events, but I'm blanking on the name of the hotel structure. And we're there at Baskin-Robbins, and they were already closed. They were cleaning up. And I walked up, and I said to the guy very quietly, I leaned over the counter, and I said, here's $50 US, which is 200 ringgit. It's a lot of money to them. And I said, I just want to thank you for the service you provide to the people here because I've been here before. I love Baskin-Robbins. I know you're closed. I know we're late. I know we're missing out. But I want you to have this. It's called a tip.
Yes.
Tip means to improve performance, to ensure precision, to ensure promptness. And I always tip before someone is going to go the extra mile.
Smart. I love it.
I said, are you someone that goes the extra mile?
Yeah.
And he goes, maybe. I said, that's Peng Joon over there. And that's Xu Ying. It's only the 3 of us. And you can name your price. If you wanted to allocate a scoop of ice cream and I know you're closed. I know you can't process it, but you can certainly put it in tomorrow morning. It's up to you. You have all the power. I have none. But I'm inspired. You have the control. Oh my God, he served us for an hour. And, I don't tip someone when they bring my car to me. Oh, sure, I do. I tip them before they take my car. That's where the damage will be done.
Yes.
That's where the disrespect is incurred. Yeah. So I tip at the beginning of a meal. So if I'm taking 8 people to dinner and I think the bill's going to be $800, $600, $700, whatever, I'm going to factor 20, 25% tip. I give it to them up front. They're like, well, what's this for? In cash. And I go, that's to ensure promptness and precision and performance. It's your tip. And I know you'll give me your all. Because tonight, while you're serving us, we'll be discussing matters that will leverage our children's futures. Oh my God! You should see the way you dress. You wrap your package.
Yes.
You wrap yourself, Dan, because it shows self-respect. Now I'm here. I'm a digital marketer here today. I mean, I'm literally wearing a pair of jeans and a V-neck. But when I throw on the jacket,
yes,
you're still. And I've seen you. You do this too.
Yes.
And if I throw on,
it's almost like your like armor, right? It's your costume, right? It's your uniform, that you're professional, that you're here as a performer to optimize, to perform at your very best.
I mean, you and I went to Disneyland and you were beautifully dressed. You had a Batman shirt on, but there wasn't a Chris in it. And you had a little designer, tennis shoes.
And Joe has a very cool shoes that you cannot get, by the way. Super cool shoes.
Oh my God, do I love those shoes?
Walk for miles and you don't get tired. It's like
they're a Porsche design spring, and I swear to you, and you heard me like going nuts. I said, we were walking on this hard surface.
Yes.
When we came off of one of the new rides they re-engineered.
All the rides, yes.
And I said, Dan, I'm walking on air. These springs. It's so worth the money. And let me just say one thing. I remember seeing those shoes, and I don't come for money. I come from a mom who worked all the time, didn't spend any time with me because she couldn't, and no dad. So, thank God I had ambition and wanted to do something. The idea of spending $1,200, $1,500 on a pair of tennis shoes is sick. It doesn't matter what I make. I know where I come from. I know the value of $1. So I had seen these things advertised, and they were limited edition, all that nonsense. And one day I just said, this is ridiculous. Let me try them.
Okay.
And I put them on. And the guy said to me, I said, take them home. He says, I don't know you, but I really think you're going to enjoy them. And you're not going to enjoy them in the store here on our plush carpeting. Take them out. I'm going to take a risk. Bring them back and I'll return them. And I can't really return them. I'm just going to eat it because you're going to damage them if you take them out of here, but I'm going to take the risk for you. I said, really? This is the puppy dog clothes.
Yes. Yes.
I took them. I came back the next day at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, fought with traffic, Beverly Hills, went to the Porsche store.
Yes.
And I bought 9 pairs. I took all my other high-end shoes, which were beautiful, and I gave them away.
Oh, wow.
And I can't tell you, it's like you with a Tom Ford suit. Or Tom Ford, correct?
Yeah.
Is it Tom? Tom Ford?
Tom
Yeah.
Ford.
You love it. You love the quality. We all know that suits don't cost that much to make.
Correct.
It's just his attention to detail, the quality of his fabrics,
Fabric, yeah.
the fact that there's a floating canvas in that suit that moves with you, the fact that it's hand stitched and hand detailed. Now, I'm not wearing a Tom Ford suit here. I'm wearing custom though, because it fits my body exactly based up, meaning, and I've been doing this since I was 19 years old. Plus the buttons are real, you know, which is a sign of something well made. See, the reason they don't have real buttons on other suits is because they're going to take the sleeves in. Custom suits are built for you. There's no taking the sleeve in.
That's right.
It's built for you. And guys, what happens is when you suddenly realize that you can have it your way and that you don't need to compromise your life or your dignity, that's where everything changes. The man you see here, Dan Lok, is self-made. The man he's talking to is self-made. No one gave us anything, but they gave us life. We can take care of our parents. I do. And we can take care of our students. Anyway, Dan, take this. I mean, I'm here. I'm not.
I love it. I love it. So, Joe, for yourself, now you're at 58 years old.
Yeah, 58, born 1960. I'll be 59 in October. And I'm taking 62 of my students on a cruise.
Oh, nice.
The same cruise that Russell just came off of. We're going on the Norwegian Bliss.
Nice.
And I'm leaving on my birthday. It'll be my final voyage to destiny. I've done it before. And on that cruise, I think it cost my wife and I probably $400,000. We lose money on it. We're not doing it for the money. We just take them and we celebrate them. And I teach them new systems. And the gifts I give them, they're jaw drops. And I know you do the same. You came to LA here.
Yes.
You trained people.
Yes.
Most of them earned the opportunity to go there.
Yeah.
Some paid, but what they paid was nothing, they said, compared to how they were celebrated, inspired, and empowered through a process. And now you have yet another monetizable, if you choose to do that.
Yeah.
So, you know, understand something, guys. You know, Dan, myself, what we represent is doing something right the first time, and then it can be replicated. You don't have to do it over and over again. Dan, I do one thing that's bad. I train people live. I haven't found a substitute to me that's as powerful. So even though we have systems online, your systems are brilliant. I know that you also love to train people on occasion live if they earn the opportunity.
Like I said, nothing replaces that when someone is in front of you, when you're training them. It's like martial art. You can't watch a DVD and learn martial art. You can get an idea what it is, but all the skills are passed down and transferred through good old, right? It's you do a move and then the master's like, oh no, don't do this. And here's your stance, they adjust, right? Your head should be this way, your arm should be this way. That's how you get good. That's really how we learn, right?
Last night, Dan, it's so funny you say that. My daughter is in here and right here next to me here. And she says, Dad, and she's like shifting my body in position. She's got 18 years of Vaganova Russian trained ballerina, hardcore, really hardcore, traveled all over the world. She's got her own systems now. She uses now movement in the corporate world to teach people posture and power placement.
Oh,
she
nice.
has a thing called power placement.
Nice.
So she said, Dad, I want you to extend so I extended my leg and I moved my hip and she made me hold this position that was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I realized instantly there how tough the ballet training is.
Yes.
And you've got the top football players now and basketball players studying ballet to find their center and find their position. And when I watch you against the Wing Chun, you call it the dummy, correct?
Yes, dummy, Wing Chun dummy. Yes.
Okay, I don't like the word dummy, but it is called. It's just amazing, and I don't think people realize when they watch you on that thing how much pain they would be in, because you've conditioned.
Yeah, the forearm. You asked me in Disneyland too, right?
You've conditioned your legs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're. It's amazing. How fast you are, how powerful you are, and how gentle you are. Because when I was with you and I was talking to you a little about martial arts, you never ever tried to show me something.
Mm.
You were very gentle.
Mm-hmm.
I put my arm around your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I felt you don't have to prove anything.
Yes.
And I think people, so often these so-called self-imposed new mentors out there that don't have a lot of experience, they work so hard to overprove something.
Yeah.
Just show us your results.
Yeah.
How do you argue? I remember when Alex Mendozian, 22 years ago, was at an event with Dan Kushel, and he saw me present. He'd never seen me before, didn't know me from Adam. I have a lot of respect for Alex Mendozian, very fine marketer, one of the brilliant, puts out a great product, a great process, great support, articulate communicator, good man, good family man. And he walked to the front of the line. And I had all these people lined up. And I just followed Dean Graziosi. Hope I'm saying that right, because I may not be pronouncing it right.
That's right. That's right.
Dean at the time was one of the worst presenters I'd ever seen in my life.
Wow, really?
And he's now rocking it.
Yeah.
And we're talking close to $1 billion in production.
Yeah.
Maybe transcended it by now.
Yeah.
But at that moment, I don't think he had any sales at all at that event. And I had to follow him, was about to lose the whole room. And so Alex watches me take control of the room. And I asked the producer, can I do what I have to do? He says, yeah, do something. They're leaving. They were all leaving. And they didn't know me. Yeah. I'm not known. I'm only known to people in marketing. Yes. So I literally saw Alex walk to the front of the line. He hands me his credit card, which might sound rude to you because he's going to the front of the line.
Yeah.
And he says to everyone in the line, he says, I'm handing Joel my credit card. I want him to charge me double. Because he has no idea of the value of what he just taught you. And he paused, dramatic pause. He said, I will make millions of dollars from just his training on the $1 billion principle. Just one sliver. And later on in the airport, I was there with Mitch Carson and a consultant for Dan Kennedy, a very fine marketer, a very articulate speaker now. And he had brought me to that event through his introduction. And there was Alex Mendozian. We ran into him. And I said, Alex, do you want your money back? I mean, obviously you were doing that to help me. He says, no, I wasn't. He says, you'll talk about what I did for the rest of your life. That'll be our story because you don't know your value. And someday you'll figure it out. But double is still not enough for what you taught me. And I don't even need to open your system.
Yeah.
So yes, he paid double. And I immediately doubled the price and then doubled it again and again and again, meaning I didn't know my value. And a lot of what you're teaching people, and I'm teaching people, is to understand that they're valuable.
Yeah.
And there's a way to package, position, and profitize on a massive level if they just start to take what it is they have seriously. It's like they marginalize their time on this planet.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing to do.
Very, very true.
If you're out there, the man who you're studying here, Dan Lok, he gives a damn. His materials, carefully, not just researched, proven, tested under fire. His students, they're not lying. The results are real. As I said at the beginning, when they're crying, they can't all be lying. They're in tears. They're tears of joy because now they can take care of those they love. See, all of you out there, you're all altruists, every one of you. You think you're here for you right now. No, you're here because you want to help your family. And you want to make a difference in the life of your cousin, or your sister, your brother, your small child. You want them to have a better place to grace them. you're not really about you. Most people are fundamentally at their core really good, and they want to do something well and make a difference. And so I can't speak for Dan, but I see him doing it. So it'll sound like I'm speaking for Dan. What we really want to do here is just continue doing exactly what we're doing.
What we're put on earth to do.
Period. You found your calling, my man.
Yes. So Joe, for my audience, if they want to train with you, if they want to find out more about what you do, if they want to get access, because I know you have the 4-day training, the masterclass, right? What would be a good starting point?
I'll tell you what I'd love you to do. One of my students, we're not going to charge anything, zero. There is a book, it pulls back the curtain on my masterclass, and I sent you the link for that downloadable 60-page. You can read it on the toilet. It's big print, lots of pictures.
Yes.
It wasn't written by me. Yes. It's written by one of my students. Her name is Debbie, and she wrote it with another student,
yes,
Dr. Ivan Carney.
Yes.
And it was essentially their notes from my master training.
Yes.
The experience.
Yes.
And I think that it's a testimonial to what people get. Yeah. So even if you never invested in me and you wanted yet another gift from Dan, if you just give them the link, you do it. You present it. I'm not going to drive them to a funnel. I'm not going to take them anywhere. If they wanted to find me, they know how to spell my name, Joel Bauer, @.com. Not hard to figure out.
Yes.
But I would rather you get this gift. Dan, is it okay for you to give it to them?
I'll do that. I'll make sure to put in the show notes, and I'll make sure I create a link for that.
Yeah, it's not the hardcover Wiley books. It's not my bestsellers. It's none of that. It's a book that really reveals this woman's emotional breakthrough. And let me just say one thing, Dan. She was an executive with one of the largest motion picture companies. Her base salary was close to $600,000 a year, plus stock, plus benefits.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
for a male, a female in corporate America. Yeah. Solid, set for life. She came to my event because someone recommended me. She didn't know me from Adam. She didn't want to come.
Yes,
but they really told her it was a life changer. And she came, and by day 2, she realized that no matter how much money she was making, she was unhappy. See, sometimes you can be successful and miserable.
Yes.
The rate of suicide amongst rich children and rich adults is incredibly high.
Yeah.
There's an old saying, give your child enough to do something, but not enough to do nothing. We need to aspire. And we need to be motivated in the right way. And we need to have the moves. See, motivation enough is not enough. We've got to have the moves. Dan is teaching you moves that actually work. So whether you ever train with me or not is irrelevant. Read the 60-page book. It'll inspire you. It also represents what Dan's about. And you'll know, too, what Dan will be doing with me and Ginny and Desmond in November of this year. And I don't know how many more, Dan, I have in me because, maybe I have another 4 or 5 events, maybe. I'm going to Asia in January. I've been going there for 11 years. 32% of the students in Asia who train with me, that's thousands I've trained.
Yeah.
They're alone. They're running their own events now, online, offline. They are an event.
Yeah.
All of you have a book inside you, a system inside you, an event inside you, products and experiences that can be instantly monetized if you'd only give yourself permission to get out of your way. Dan, I hope, I know this is a weird interview because it's like...
I love it because it's so different. It is so different, right? But what I would encourage my audience is to listen and watch it again because...
there's layers.
Yeah, there are layers, so many. That's what Joe does. That's the thing. It's like what a master does. It's like, it looks sometimes so simple. It's like, it's like Bruce Lee as a sidekick. There's a lot of attributes behind that kick, and same thing with Joe. And I love watching Joe just do his thing. And by the way, he just performs magic for me. Like, it's so great. Like, he makes it fun. Really, really, it makes it fun. I'm honored, and I'm very. I will not, just like what Joe said, he endorses what I do. I 100% endorses what he does. There are not a lot of trainers personally that I would say, I'm going to spend 4 or 5 days of my time. It's a lot of time.
Yeah, you're flying in with a whole team.
Yeah, like with someone, like, the events I would go in, spend a day. No, this is like, I'm going, block out my time and say, I'm not doing anything except I'm going there to learn. So I think that says a lot about Joe's skill, really, really. So I'm honored. I'm excited.
I realized, Dan, that when you attend that event, and I've never done this before, any PER, I have an attentive audience, qualified audience, already obviously massively invested. This is not a free event. This requires a major investment.
Yes, it's high.
And they're happy to do it. I've never had a single person in 17 years ever leave the event, ask for a refund, ever, even though they have a money-back guarantee on day one. No questions asked.
Yes.
I've offered them their money back on the first day, second day, third day. Recently in Asia, for the first time in my life, Dan, I asked 2 men to get up and leave on the 4th day of a 5-day event.
Wow.
And I said, all your money will be refunded. I don't want you in this group.
Wow.
You oscillate at low frequency. You are negative.
Yes.
And your energy can destroy this family that I'm building here.
Yes.
And nurturing.
Yes.
So the moment you sign the release, you will have trained with me for free for all. It's the only time I've ever done it.
Yeah.
The audience applauded because these 2 guys had a terrible attitude. And I was watching them. I'm very aware of the students. That's why I teach on a boutique level.
Yes.
I can put 10,000 people in a room. So can you.
Yes.
But there's no intimacy.
Yes.
One of the biggest marketers in the world last year put thousands and thousands of people in a room, and he didn't test the sound. And he didn't know. It was a total blithering failure, the event. Some people lost money there.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to know what we're doing and to pre-test.
Yeah.
And that same person now has scaled it way back to about 1/30th of its size because it did damage. So I also believe that people should grow at the right speed.
Yeah.
Scaling is not a problem. But the beauty of what I see Dan doing is it's incremental, beautifully engineered. And even if you only did the first move, you've got a package right now that's like under $300. So my wife and I spend that on lunch at a sushi bar. So, I mean, it just depends on your palate.
Yeah.
And I don't come for money, but I mean, we spend that. We got kids at schools and $300. You give them their money back if it doesn't work.
Yes.
It's crazy. I'm looking at it and I'm going, Dan made a mistake here. He's undervaluing his stack because I'm looking at your stack there, the stuff you gift them for free, and you're saying it's only worth $2,700. I say it's worth $250,000. And then you bring them into an experience. It's unbelievable. And it contains the perfect script and so many other elements.
That's right.
It's an amazing package. So, guys, I hope you treat yourself. And even if you're an abuser out there, let's say you're a horrible human being and you like to abuse people.
Wow.
So opt in, download his system, take advantage of the man. But do me one favor, actually use the materials for a month. You got a money back guarantee. And then right before you typically ask for your money back because you're a piece of garbage and you know it, you know who I'm talking about. The people who intentionally abuse people, who put their heart and soul into their products and their processes and their support, you won't be able to ask for your money back. That's how good it is. It'll be the exception and it will change you. And you'll never be the same. And it'll be the defining moment that made all the difference in your life. And I mean that sincerely.
Thank you. Thank you. Really, really appreciate it.
I mean, look, so there's always a percentage of people out there that are just looking to badmouth and trash and
the troll.
You can't worry about it. They're going to be people that liked this interview, and they're going to be people that do like it. My wife might watch this and not like it. You know what? Dan, here's how I live my life. You give all you got, and if you gave all you got, you did the best you could in that moment.
Yes.
You trust your instincts and your intuition and your experience, and maybe you look at it and you go, I could have done it differently. I don't beat myself up. I go, fine, I'll do it differently next time.
Yes.
But I gave all that I had, and therefore, I don't look back. If a client is unhappy with me, but I gave all that I had, there's nothing I could have done better. I can learn from their suggestions for future experiences, but I gave all that I have. Now, if I'm conducting a masterclass or any training or consultation, and I'm not giving my all, and they think it was wonderful, I think it was terrible. I'm not trying to please the client, I'm trying to please myself. And to please myself, I have very high standards.
Yes. Yes. I think or
It's
high
important.
performance or masters. We have high expectations for ourselves than other people have for us, right? That other people, they may not, it's good. It's not good enough. We could always do better, right? Awesome. Thank you, Joe. I really, really appreciate it. I'll make sure I just put a link in the show notes. So you watching this, listening to this, you can download Joe's book, right? 60-page book.
And by the way, it's not professionally written. It's written by a student. I always say live vicariously through the words and actions of the result.
Yes.
And the result is she's now making about $850,000 a year, yes. Immediate increase. She's running her own events now. We're not even factoring in that.
Yes.
I taught her how to become a consultant and how to create demand. 3 other companies had a bidding war for her now.
Yes.
And she's changed her life. And now she's vacationing with her husband and doing whatever she wants. And she's not a slave to that corporate position, even though she was doing very well. She found her calling. She found her mission. And if you don't know, Dan, can I leave you with one thing?
Yes, please.
The Cheshire Cat said to Alice in Alice in Wonderland, as the story goes, he says, she said, "Where should I go?" And he said, "Well, where do you want to go?" And Alice says, "Well, it really doesn't matter." And he says, "Well, any road will take you there. If you don't know what you want, any road will take you there."
Yes.
It's not a good place.
Yes. Yes.
I think Dan and I, cut me off if I'm wrong, but we represent a processes that are simple, that will actually identify what it is you want, your purpose. And it will have meaning. And it will have a profound impact that you will make while you're here. Because this is a short voyage for all of us.
All of us. True.
Dan, you were born when I was about 18. So I figure you'll be here a lot longer. And I'm thrilled you're here. I don't see you as a competitor. I see you as someone that I can love and share with other people. This morning, I turned one of my clients on to your closers, and I said, I won't come to your event if you don't use these people. And you should use them for everyone. Because more people will end up investing, but that's not why. More people will benefit and change their lives as a direct result of what's being offered. Dan, thank you for having me. And I want to know what the kanji means over your right shoulder.
This one?
Yeah.
That's my last name in Chinese.
Oh, well, okay.
Lok. Yes. Actually, it's a gift from one of my students.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I thought, oh, wow, that's great. So that's why I displayed it. I got it last year.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Can't wait to see you in LA.
I'm excited. And reach out to me if you ever need anything, because I'm here.
Vice versa.
And I just love what you're doing. And I plan on continuing to invest in your systems as well and your people. The beauty of Dan's people, if you don't know it, is you're not really investing. They come at their risk. If you're qualified and communicate to a group, they do the work for you, meet the objections head on, overcome them gently without having to really overcome them. That's the beauty of it, because he doesn't teach it from a standard point of view. It's very gentle. It's not sticky. It's not disgusting. You don't feel like you have to take a shower. People feel like they were honored to be with those people. I met 3 of the nicest people I've ever met, skilled, intelligent, people I'd want to break bread with, and I did. And they were at the Peng Joon and my Master of Platforms event. And Peng Joon and I know that we made a lot more money that we can then invest in more products, more services, more staffing, passing it forward. As that's what the wealthy do. Understand something here. What is the purpose of money? To invest it, to make more, to make a difference while you're here. And yes, you get to live well. Yes, you get to drive your foundation's car or fly in that plane if that's important to you. But the truth of the matter is, you get to make a difference while you're here, and that feels good.
Sure.
I'm not talking about ego. Yes. You help someone help themselves. That feels good. Yes. Dan, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.